Hey everyone, Ed Burton here, and as you can see by the title below, I am going to review Oz the Great and the Powerful, and I saw this yesterday. I saw it, and I saw it. I was planning on seeing another movie, but after seeing reviews for it, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll give it a try because I thought this was gonna suck. To an extent, it kind of did, but again, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Um, yeah, I was talking to one of my subscribers. You may know her if you watch my recent videos. New Star Rising, great girl. You gotta check out her channel. And she told me that the movie wasn't bad. It was just hyped up too much. So I was like, okay, well, let's see. So I have my list here, of course, and let's start with the bad first because I always notice with reviews I watch that when you say the good first and then the bad, the audience always remembers the bad because that's the last thing they hear before the video is over. So I'm going to start with the bad first. Okay, so the movie's not really consistent with The Wizard of Oz. It's kind of like its own movie. If you didn't see The Wizard of Oz, that's no problem. You don't need to see The Wizard of Oz. Maybe that was the point, but at the same time, you have to have key elements in there that bring or shows homage to the original, like the Yellow Brick Road. It's not really hyped up like it is in the original. You would think they would do more with the Yellow Brick Road, talk about it a little bit more, reference it a little bit more before they got on. It's just, all right, down the Yellow Brick Road, let's do it. That's it. That's really it. And you only see it maybe 2 or 3 times. Uh, so it's not really consistent in that way. It's not really consistent because it it's just the characters don't really add up. Like, when did you ever see Finley the monkey? When did you ever see these kind of effects and these kind of characters in The Wizard of Oz? Now, I understand that The Wizard of Oz was made like 70 years ago and they didn't have money for that, you know? But at the same time, you don't need $250 million to make a good prequel. All you need is what The Wizard of Oz had. They made it for like $4 million, which was considered a lot back in the like 30s and 40s. But I digress. But they obviously would need more than that. But again, I digress. You don't need special effects like that. You don't, and the effects aren't very good. The settings are kind of like really in your face, really obnoxious, kind of a little too colorful. They kind of look cartoonish, some of them. Like they were trying to make them so colorful and so, extravagant and grand and huge and all this that they just looked ridiculous and unrealistic. And they weren't, some of the effects weren't subtle at all. They were just really in your face and too colorful. Too much going on. There was a lot of stuff in the effects, so it's very hard to admire them when you have all this stuff going on at once. So that I thought was a problem. Uh, the acting was very over the top. You could tell that these actors knew it was a kids' film, which is a big problem. There's a very big difference between Wizard of Oz being a kid film, grown-up film, because they had an equilibrium. And granted, it's very hard to create an equilibrium with something like Wizard of Oz because you have to put key elements, but you have to for kids, but you have to also put key elements for adults, and Wizard of Oz did very good at that. This one was all for kids, just all for. It was very cute. It was very, not very dark, not very mysterious. Sometimes they did. But again, it felt out of place. Half of the film is all bright and colorful, and you know, and then towards the end, towards the middle of the second half and to the third half, it was very dark, very mysterious. So there wasn't really a good equilibrium there. And back to the acting, when it's a kids' film, the actors don't really do the same performance they would in, uh, an adult film like James Franco. Oddly enough, James Franco was like, eh. He kind of like sometimes he did a line and he did it very well, very subtle, very believable as Oz. But other times he was very, very forceful with it. He was very nonchalant with it. He was very just like I remember a scene where he had the monkey Finley trapped in the vines, and he was like, "Don't worry, little monkey, the vines aren't gonna eat you." And he's like, "Not the vines, the lion." Lion, you know. That's not subtle at all. The way he just said, "The vines aren't going to eat you," that was setting up for an aha moment. Again, that's for kids. I get that, but sometimes he was just so unbearable to watch, and sometimes he hit it right on the key mark. Sometimes he was great, sometimes he was good, sometimes he was god awful. But oddly enough, I don't think he was the right choice for Oz. I thought there was, there could have been a lot of other actors to play this role and to play it better. But oddly enough, I couldn't imagine anyone else playing this role. It's weird because while I would have rather seen another actor in this role of Oz, I couldn't imagine anyone else playing the role of Oz in this type of movie with this kind of script. Very odd. I was thinking, oh, well, it could be John Depp. Well, no, that doesn't work. Well, Jeremy Renner. No, that doesn't work. I couldn't really think of another actor that could play Oz with this type of writing, except James Franco. So he was a very interesting choice. He was okay. Mila Kunis was possibly the worst pick for the Wicked Witch of the West, like, ever. And the backstory they gave her was ludicrous. It was stupid. It was needless. Just, start off the movie with the Wicked Witch of the West. That's all. You don't need a backstory for anything. So like it was something that was very very like not interesting. It was, the backstory is that Oz tricked her and all this, but there's a plot hole in that her sister tricked the Wicked Witch of the West. Her sister tricked her into thinking Oz tricked her. This is very confusing, but people that have seen the movie will understand. And she found out, but that's when she turned into the Wicked Witch of the West. And then she goes right after Oz. Like, that doesn't really make sense. I know how I said it doesn't really make sense, but once you see the movie, you'll understand. But yeah, I swear, the only people worse for this role other than Mila Kunis would be Megan Fox or Kristen Stewart. In fact, I think Kristen Stewart would have done a better job, even though she would probably be unemotionally invested in it. At least she would get the wickedness down. Mila Kunis, I could not buy her as the Wicked Witch of the West. She was very over the top, very hammy, very again nonchalant. She kind of botched the character in Wizard of Oz. In Wizard of Oz, she was very mean, yes, but she was subtle with it. She wasn't like, over the top with her performance. Even though a little over the top, she had control. She knew her limitations. She's very restrained in the person that played Wizard of Oz. With this one in Oz the Great and the Powerful, it's just, just a mess, I think. But, you got too much kiddiness. Again, you have too much, the effects aren't very good. The acting is a little hammy, a little over the top. So, that's really all I can think of for the bad. So let's go to the good. Let's go to the positives. The black and white. I praise this film for starting this movie in black and white. That pays homage to the first. That shows a lot of respect. I respect the movie for showing respect for the Wizard of Oz. They're at least referencing the Wizard of Oz and showing, okay, this is part of the Wizard of Oz. Kind of like, we are a prequel to Wizard of Oz, basically. So I do respect that. The characters are likable, some of them anyway. The monkey, Finley, I enjoyed. Oz, even though James Franco wasn't the best pick, I don't think, he was still likable enough for me to enjoy him, not me to like want to shoot myself in the head every time he came on screen. He was enjoyable enough for me to watch, and I enjoyed him. I could appreciate the over the topness of the acting. It wasn't Mila Kunis where it was just like, God, get off the screen. It was just James Franco was more like, okay, moving on. So the monkey was very good. Finley, I think his name was. I did enjoy him. He's kind of like the comedy or the comic relief, even though it's a comedy movie. But I digress. The story's strong, I'd say, for the most part, with a few plot, with a bleh, with a few, bleh, with a flu, wow, bleh, with a few plot holes, with a few inconsistencies, with a lot of inconsistencies, but it kept me interested, kept me involved. It's innocent enough. I wouldn't go see final. That's really all there is for the good as well. I mean, final consensus for the movie. Uh, you probably, for people that loved The Wizard of Oz, you probably will not enjoy this. If you're open to change from The Wizard of Oz, this won't bother you. Kids will enjoy it. It's innocent enough for kids. There's nothing really terrible for kids to see. Um, uh, Grown-ups, I'm sure, will find something to like about it. Uh, grown-ups will, grown-ups will, I'm sure, find something to like about it. Um, but if you love The Wizard of Oz and don't want it that kind of, if you love The Wizard of Oz and don't want that kind of formula to change, then you won't enjoy this movie. If you are open to change from The Wizard of Oz and expect a lighter, kind of kiddier version take of Oz, then I'm sure this will be fine for you. Altogether, final consensus for me: don't go see it in theaters. I wouldn't see it in theaters. Or again, I think it's worth checking out maybe on DVD or on demand. I wouldn't really like rush to see it in theaters. Maybe see it in theaters, just not like second weekend out or anything like that. So final consensus on it: 6 out of 10 stars, and I will be doing. If you're watching this New Star Rising, I will be doing your review as soon as I can. I will be posting this review and then a review on Emperor, and then I will do your review because I already did Emperor. I'm just going to upload it today, and I will mention that in Emperor, and I will get to your video next, and that will be posted tomorrow. So until next time, guys, stay tuned for Emperor, and peace.